problem. Commissioner Locatelli?
Oh, I was just going to ask about the closure of the Benchlands. Are you going to get to that? That seems like a pretty big event that's going to happen, and what the status is on that, given the recent issues we've had.
Yeah.
Is there any further information that anybody can give on that? Because it seems relevant.
Yeah, it's a big topic, Commissioner Locatelli, and I don't have that in my announcements specifically, although happy to talk about that. And again, would reach out to staff here, Travis in particular, just to speak to that process. I don't know. I may not have all of the most up-to-date details, but we can speak to that once we get to the staff updates here momentarily.
Okay.
All right. I'm just kind of moving down the list here, a number of announcements. Wanted to mention to the commission that two Thursdays ago, I know the commission is aware of this, but we had an incident at the Parks Yard at Harvey West Park where we had 6 of our trucks that were really vandalized. It's beyond vandalism. It was arson to our 6 trucks. 5 of those were destroyed. 1 of them was damaged. We had damage to the Parks Yard facility as well. So just by way of a quick update, the investigation is being conducted by the police department, and that investigation is ongoing. Our primary focus right now is on staff safety. So we're doing a lot as far as staff training, working in teams, working in pairs out in the field. So wanting to just assure our staff that they are safe and secure in the field and at their work sites throughout the park system. That's a huge focus for us there. And then finally, we are beginning work on assessments just related to facility vulnerability and safety and security of our facilities, and trying to find investment into security and safety, working with the police department very closely as well on increased patrols, and looking to increase and enhance our security throughout the system. Again, to protect our staff and protect our assets and ultimately provide safe facilities to the community. So let me pause there. I've got a couple more announcements, but I'll pause there and just respond to any questions that the commission may have.
Okay, Commissioner Greenside, I see your hand, and then Commissioner Pollack after that.
Yes, thank you, Tony. You missed out West Cliff on your
to implicate us in removing the homeless, and I may be stupid here, but what is our direct participation? Are we actually going out there, our department, and removing homeless, or is it just because we are owners of some of the land, as it were?
Well, Commissioner Pollack, that's a great question, and I want to just be clear. I think that the incident at the Parks Yard was an incident of arson, of vandalism. It was targeted directly at Parks and Recreation staff. There was graffiti tags on site about stop the sweeps, so related to San Lorenzo Park. But I don't want to suggest that necessarily that it was individuals who are unsheltered who did that arson, who were behind that. We don't know. That's part of the investigation. But I think to your question, as it relates to our work, so the Parks Department's involvement as it relates to homelessness generally is primarily geared toward homeless encampment cleanup. So this is after an encampment has left an area. So we do a lot of these cleanups in Pogonip and Sycamore Grove and really throughout the city. And so the work that we are doing at San Lorenzo Park currently, a lot of it is just geared toward cleaning up abandoned and discarded trash and materials really on a weekly basis. So we're not evicting anybody. We're not kicking anybody out right now. We are literally taking out the trash at San Lorenzo Park. Now, there is a broader city plan to close down the Benchlands and find shelter for the residents or for the folks living in the Benchlands. That project really has not fully begun yet. But the Parks Department's involvement most often is cleaning up. So it's trash, it's removing debris and so forth. So that's our core function. I would again welcome Travis to speak to that as well.
Yeah, I would just echo your comments, Tony, that our staff have been involved and continue to be involved in those cleanup efforts. And that really is our role.
Right. No, that's good. I mean, I'm mostly worried about, are these people on the front lines, in a battle? And it sounds like not as much if they're just doing the cleanup. And I didn't know if cleanup was a euphemism for removal or not. So thanks for clarifying all that.
Yeah, Commissioner Pollack, and just to clarify that, so we are not, through the Parks and Recreation Department, we are not removing people. Our staff are not removing people from parks. Once an encampment is abandoned, or if other city staff, the homeless response team, the police department, others, if they go through a process to remove people from a park location or identify shelter to find an alternative for folks living in parks, once they are cleared out, we will go in to clean up the material and debris that's left over. But I do want to clarify that I think the parks and recreation staff very much are on the front lines. We are out in the field every day, cleaning up trash every day, in beaches, parks, open spaces everywhere. So this is part of our focus on staff safety, is making sure that we are working in teams, that we are, that we've got communications tools, that we have, in some cases, the backup that we need from whether it's public works or the police department, fire department, whoever it might be, because we're in the mix. We're out on the front lines every day, and we want to make sure that, that we can do our job safely. And ultimately, safety is number one, because if we can't do our job safely, then ultimately we're not providing parks to the community. So our safety has got to come first. And so that safety and training is a major focus right now.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I mean, it seems like this just brings it to a whole new level for danger.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Pollack. And I realize now that I called these updates out of order and started with the director. So we'll work back in descending order. So I apologize for that confusion. I see Commissioner Mio and then Commissioner Locatelli related to the director's comments. Commissioner Mio?
Yeah.
Commissioner Mio?
Yeah, I just really want to stress that the security issue, safety issue, has been an ongoing problem, that it has already been working on the psyche and on the workforce for over, close to 3 years now. We had an ad hoc committee. So, now that it took a material impact is, and it gets a lot of reaction, breaks my heart, because the crews have been dealing with feeling insecure for a long time, and there has been no real true action for them. And now that, there's monetary value attached, everything will jump into action, which I welcome. But this is really the top, injury to what has been going on. And so I strongly urge my fellow commissioners to work on the safety of our crews. They're out there, in Pogonip, in the cemetery areas, and it's scary. So let's come together and work for these people that have been enduring this safety issue for a long, long time. I just had to say that. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions or
This has been thought of, and obviously this is just a suggestion, can't take action. And I know nobody wants to leap to an assumption that it was a particular member of the houseless community. If I was an inspector, though, I would be talking with some of the activists in the houseless community. And perhaps as a strategy, and that's the police's job, but perhaps as a strategy to find somebody who's not just rigid-minded and hasn't, somebody who might be approachable, to have a sit-down chat with the director and a person who's a leader in the activist member who may be housed, but activist houseless issues, and have a heart-to-heart, one-on-one talk, and just the impact. Because I think sometimes, it's like two polar opposites in these camps, and both feel they've, got right on their side. And it's very sad to see that happening. So just throw that out as a thought. Maybe somebody is reachable who could then just spread the word, that it might filter to somebody who maybe knows who did this, who could hear, hey, cool it, guys. These are hardworking workers. And etc. You know what I'm saying. I won't keep going on. Just a thought.
Thank you, Commissioner Greensight. Director Elliot, anything else from you before I move on to other department staff and commissioners for updates?
Yeah, thanks, Chair Brown. Just two more quick announcements.
On this item is presiding officer. I don't have any announcements. I do see that one member of the public who's in attendance, Cindy, has their hand raised to address us on the announcements, which we typically don't do, but I certainly don't mind doing it. I'll give you 2 minutes to address the commission on this item as part of public testimony. We did cover a number of topics. You can unmute yourself, Cindy, and address the commission.
Okay, I just want to say, prior to my email, I had several oral communications, and after my email with your staff, the Park and Recreation staff, and they were just exemplary, and they just made me feel so happy to live in Santa Cruz. So I just wanted to give kudos out to them, and also to let them know that the community is very saddened about the violence and the feeling of not being safe among staff. And so that was I just wanted to share that, and thank you that they're already moving forward on assessing the conditions of the Arroyo Seco Canyon. So thank you all for your work.
Thank you, and thank you for being in attendance today. I believe that brings us to the end of our meeting. So